Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Today we are bringing back Ingrid. As you can see, she's all smiling. Yes, so she's now, how do I say, returning the favor. Yeah, so she's going to talk to Claudia, who is a person who has just fresh graduate, looking job hunting. In fact, on LinkedIn, I think that banner where they put seeking for a job, how she should be job hunting. So yes, so she'll tell us things based on her perspective. So questions to Ingrid on how to, as a junior person in this field, what do you do and what is expected of you? So yes, so joining me is Ingrid and Claudia. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Yes, so both of you should tell us a little bit about yourselves, starting from Claudia, the new one.
I'm Langa Claudia. I graduated recently in 2024 December. I graduated with a degree in cybersecurity and networking, and I am currently pursuing a certification in Security Plus and Network Plus. Yes, that is a little about myself. And I'm currently job hunting, as Deo said. Yes, and I cannot wait to enter the industry and see what the world has in store.
Okay, nice to meet you, Claudia. I love that introduction. My name is Ingrid Teko. I work with Video East Africa. I'm an IT auditor. I'm a recently certified CISA and ACCA. And yeah, I've been with Video East Africa for 3 years now, 3 years and some months. And I can say it's going well so far. I'm growing and learning a lot. Yeah, but outside that, like I always like to say, I'm two different people between work and my personal life. I'm a social flower who is trying to navigate through life and just make the best of it. Yeah, that's it about me. Over to you, Dave. Deo, you're muted.
I was saying that today I've come up with new vocabulary, social flower. I'm intrigued. Did you do homework before before coming to the podcast?
It seems like my facets keep changing.
Yeah. So, Claudia, so the whole process is you'll be asking her questions, you answer things which, you as a person who is joining the industry would want to know about. So I'll let you do your thing. I'll just be coming in once in a while just to give more clarification or ask more questions to our senior in the field. Yeah.
Okay. So I had Madam Ingrid talked about 3 years in IT auditing. That sounds like a very solid foundation. I want to ask, what were your turning points, your motivation, the entry-level tasks that you use? Like, how did you climb the ladders from entry level to carrying out more complex responsibilities?
Okay.
And were there tasks that that are very crucial, if any?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. So I joined the audit space from a graduate level. So I joined within a graduate recruitment program. And at that point, audit is something that was a concept that was really new to me, I would say. And because of that, I felt like I was on a very steep learning curve. There was so much to learn within what I would say a short amount of time, which was a personal goal. Especially seeing how audit firms work. The growth is pretty much structured, so you can always see at any given point where you're going and what you need to do to get to where you would want to be. So with that, one pivotal moment for me was being given the chance to lead on what I would say were mid-scale audits, because of course when you start, they take you at a pace that allows you to learn but as you grow. So of course the expectation is that you grow into a position where you can now also lead and train. So that mid-scale audit is a point that gave me the opportunity to teach. And one thing I learned from teaching is the more you teach, the more you learn, the more you grow. So I was able to basically sharpen what I had learned at that point, while also adding on from where I was being trained still by my supervisors, by my managers. And I quickly learned that while technical acumen is essential, the ability to communicate complex IT concepts in clear, relatable terms is equally, or if not more, critical. So that's what I can say. I hope I've answered that question
Yes.
fully.
You had also talked about certifications.
Yes.
And that had also piqued my interest. Did those certifications, they made a difference in your career? Are they still opening doors? And what useful certifications could we do as beginners who are trying to enter also IT auditing?
Okay, that's a very good question. Certifications have definitely been what I would say a game changer for me. And not only because, they will probably decorate your name and then you will see that on my LinkedIn there's Ingrid Teko CISA or SCCA. But there's a lot that comes with that certification. One thing for sure is resilience. For you to sit down and study for whatever certification you opt for and see it through to the end, it takes a certain level of resilience, which definitely seeps into all parts of your life, especially with work. It puts you in a position where you're able to see things through to the end to the best of your abilities. These certifications are not easy, so it requires a lot of study, it requires a lot of hours to be committed to them. And what I can say is they provide structure. So of course, we're at a point where there's so much on the internet. We have so much to learn from the internet. We can go to YouTube, we can go to Google, and you basically come out at the same level as someone who is auditing, someone who is doing cybersecurity assessments. But there's a kind of structure that they provide in terms of frameworks and industry best practices that you get to learn. And also, they pivot you in a way that they create an essential network for professional growth. So it's not enough to say you're aware of these things, but one thing that truly stands out to employers, which still goes back to the point of resilience, is having some of these certifications in your docket. And for someone looking to enter into IT audit, the best option and first place I would say would be a good starting point is to do CISA, Certified Information Systems Auditor. CISA appears into a number of domains that are necessary for you to understand, first of all, IT infrastructure that you would be looking into as an IT auditor, but also understand how best to structure your audits, how to approach these audits, and how to treat them, as well as the people that you'll be working with while you're auditing. Yeah, that's what I have to say for that.
Okay. That is interesting. So what you're meaning is each certification stands for, like, represents each field in IT. If you want to like, I who's doing a security plus and network plus, I cannot fall into auditing, or is there a possibility?
You can fall into auditing. So CISA is just one of them, which is at least where I started. But there are certifications like CISSP, the CISSP, there's CISM. Some of these fall within the docket of ISACA, and there are those that fall within ISC. So these are still good places for one to start, even if you don't have CISA. As long as you have that structure that you gained from one of these certifications, it's definitely going to pivot you into where you're looking into getting into. So, for example, with cybersecurity, you might not necessarily need to have CISA. That's where I would advise that you could do CISM or CISSP, and this will give you a more in-depth understanding of the technicalities regarding cybersecurity assessments, specific cybersecurity assessments. So yes and no, it does vary from domain to domain with IT. And that's where I would say research is the best place for you to start, because there are very many, and it's very easy for you to end up doing a certification and then you complete it and you say, why did I do this certification? Am I going to apply it anywhere? Is it going to be of any use to me? And that's something that's very important to ask yourself before you go in for a certification. It's because that's where sometimes we often go wrong and end up just being highly decorated. So it's very crucial to do as much research in terms of how you're trying to shape your career growth, where you're trying to take it, and which certification would be the best in terms of equipping you, but also putting you out there to the employers that you're looking out to show that it's something that you're actively working towards. I hope that answers your question.
Yes. So I also wanted to ask the most crucial question: salary, and how a day in life is for an IT auditor. In these 3 years, have there been improvement of the salary, or they made you start from beginner level? And what are the daily activities you carry out as an IT auditor at your firm?
Okay. So I think I will start with the salary, then I'll move on to the daily activities. So salary, of course, within any organization, especially if you're at entry level, the salary that is given to you is entry level salary. Definitely not at liberty to guess the ranges that various organizations offer. But what I can say from where I am is that your compensation grows over time as you grow through the levels, as you grow through the ranks, and in certain cases, even with performance. So you'll find that where you are able to pull your weight and able to deliver to exceptional levels, where you're a high performer, definitely your compensation is not going to stay the same. Your compensation is going to grow. And with audit firms, growth is expected almost on an annual basis, which is why I said from where I stand, what I at least liked with that is that you could see where you're going at every point in time. You could see how you were expected to grow, and you could see how best to work towards that, because then you know that at this point, once I've achieved this, once I have been able to work through my engagements, deliver on clients to the best of my abilities satisfactorily, you know what's coming. So what I can say is that compensation grows over time. with your performance, depending on the firm, how the firm handles your growth. It's expected to grow, but you'll definitely expect to start with an entry-level salary. Just remind me what the second question was.
The second question was your daily life in IT auditing, the activities you carry out are, yes, because most of us view IT auditing as me personally. I used to view it as someone who just comes in, maybe checks out the security systems, analyzes them, writes reports, and basically how auditors do it, but in an IT sector. So for more clearance on that.
Okay, so I think what the best way I can walk you through it is in terms of, let's say you have one specific IT audit that you're carrying out, say for one client, you've been assigned to one client to carry out an IT audit. So it doesn't necessarily start with, say, you walking into the office and then you dive right in, and maybe then towards the end of the week you have a report. It takes a sequential kind of process where you have a number of activities lined up, and the starting point is always planning. So here you're doing planning for the audit, you're planning in terms of the resources, you're planning in terms of the timelines, you're planning in terms of information that you're expecting to review. So that means you're also requesting the client for the information that you're going to review. So if, say, I've started an audit, my day one, my Monday is going to start like that. I'm going to get into the office and I'm going to plan for this client. And at that point, of course, you will have to have, say, what we call an entry meeting, the client. And an entry meeting is where you'd let them know that this is how we've planned for the audit to go. These are the timelines, this is the team, and this is the information we'd expect to review. And then on from planning, you would move to a stage of risk assessment, which comes in different forms. Comes in terms of information that you're reviewing that the client has provided. It can come in the form of walkthroughs, where you're trying to understand the business of the client, and in the process, you're also identifying risk points that are relevant to the scope that is guiding you, but also the organization. So those risk points could be areas where there could be a shortfall, where there could be a security risk to this client. So that's why you're doing your risk assessments. And as you're doing that, planning doesn't always stop at the beginning. Planning is continuous. So then you plan for the tests that you're going to carry out. Yeah, so now this is probably another day. This is probably like day 6 or day 8 of you coming into the office. You're now setting up the tests that you want to do. You're carrying them out. You're reviewing information that you need to review, and you're documenting the results that are coming out in what we'd call a working paper. A working paper just basically shows where you started, information that you've reviewed, the outcomes of the information that you've reviewed, and any risks that you've now identified at that point. And then from then on, you have a basis to come up with recommendations that are relevant to the client, but that also speak to the risks that you've identified. So I've not only taken you through a day, I've taken you through an audit, but I've also taken you through the steps that you would take within that audit. So as you're coming up with those recommendations, the last step is for you to prepare your report. And one thing I think I've forgotten to add in there is during the audit, especially with audits where we're handling external clients, they like to be informed as they go. Of course, these are issues that you highlight in your report and say these are risks that we found and the recommendations, but it's also essential to basically prep them, but also guide them. At the end of the day, you're not just here to police them. You're here to guide them in terms of how best they can set up their infrastructure to make sure that they are fortified against any kind of malicious attacks or the likes. So throughout this process, whatever you're identifying, you're discussing it with the client, you're letting them know that we found this, and best practice states that this. So like I said, taking you through more than a day, basically. I've taken you through an entire audit.
Also, it's a whole process.
It's a whole process.
So I see time is going, but I wanted to ask you one crucial question about how you penetrated IT audit. Interviewing questions, the questions they asked you, how you answered them, and how you would answer them right now. Since now you have had 3 years experience, you can best explain and express yourself better than us who are just joining into the working field. So which advice do you give us as us who are going now for interviews? How should we answer some questions? Were there some questions that caught you off guard? Yes. And yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. So the IT audit interview. Of course, at the start, entering at entry level, I wouldn't say it's highly technical. But the most important thing out of all this is preparation for any kind of interview that you're going into. It's very important to prepare. It's very important to know who you're going to be in the room with. And it's very important to prepare in line with the kind of role that you're going for. Whether it's IT audit, whether it's cybersecurity analyst, it's very important to just get yourself phoned with some of the terms. It's also ideal to get onto the internet, and you will definitely find that there are people who have been through similar situations and shared the questions that they found at the various levels. So I'm saying that mainly for the point of entry level. And I would say, like I said, it's not as technical in certain situations, depending on the kind of role that you're going for. They're not highly technical. And one thing that they're mainly trying to assess at that point in time, coming from campus, is this person resilient enough? Can they handle certain scenarios? If we presented them with this scenario, would they be able to handle it? How are they able to navigate challenges? Are they innovative enough to come up with solutions and ideas? So those are some of the things they're looking for at the start. But like I said, preparation is key. So even if you don't believe, and like I've said, it might not be as technical, it still would not hurt to prepare your technicalities as well, but also prepare your responses regarding your soft skills. On the upper side, growing over the 3 years, reaching this point, one thing that has helped me is actually my years of experience. So, of course, at this point, the interviews I'm going for are in line with my career and what I'm doing. So I'm able to focus on concrete real-world examples, which is the ideal, which is the requirement that you can derive from similar examples from your workspace, to be able to say, walk the interview panel through an audit. How would you audit a network? How would you handle access management? So these are areas that derive from what you've essentially been doing. And what I've learned is that over time, that has calmed down the level of anxiety that would normally arise ahead of any interview. And I think that is one thing that I witnessed in myself, at least with every interview that I've gone for. It's the growth. It comes with the growth. Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, Claudia.
Yes, I have actually learned a lot from interacting with Madam Ingrid. She has very well insight, and she's very eloquent, and she explains well. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I think I should pick a leaf.
I'm glad,
the way she
Claudia. I'm glad that I've not successfully confused you.
But she's talking of picking a leaf. She should have taken the whole branch, but it's okay. Yeah, so thank you, Ingrid. I know time is fast spent, so any parting shots from both of you? For anyone joining the industry in 1 minute, by the way.
Okay. Thank you, Dale. Parting shots from me, I would say for anyone looking to join the industry, and something that I've been highlighting all the way through is resilience is key. If you set yourself to something, if there's an interest that you have, one thing I can say is like, let the curiosity that has sparked in you lead you to learn, to network with people in the areas that you're interested in, lead you to opportunities, taking up certifications, taking up degrees or masters that are going to set you up for success in the path that you're looking to achieve your growth in. And what I can say is that career growth or professional growth is a step-by-step process. It's something that you have to be patient with. You can't jump into it and expect to know everything there and then. You'll definitely meet people who are far ahead of you, and it could either leave you feeling like you don't know enough, or it could leave you feeling like I need to, get to interact with these people more and get to interact with the kind of information that I need more, such that I can learn. So my emphasis here is learning is key. Learning is continuous, never stops. So that's something that will definitely shape your journey.
Thank you for that. Claudia, do you have anything apart from getting for her a coffee for her job well done? You know you need to take her out. You know the good spots, so please do the needful. Any parting shots?
Yes, I want to first thank you for the opportunity to host me on your show. And yes, I've picked a leaf from it about resilience. And this has motivated me to continue pursuing my goals. And yes, I also admire girls in IT. It's motivating to see more females in the industry. And I hope all girls out there be more motivated to join the IT sector. As you can see, it's no longer a men's field. It's diverse now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, shooting shots a lot, but it's okay.
Yes, the future is female.
Okay. So now with that, I would like to end there. Have a good one.